Welcome to the 1212 portal, and we're going to do, of course, the celestial check-in, and we are going to look at embodiment because that's what we're here to do. We're here to embody our truth, the truth of who you are, the truth of what you are, the truth of why you came. We're here to embody those. I'm not sure what that means. But I can say hello, salut, bonjour. Yeah, buenos dias. Can say a few things. Buenas noches for evening. Although it's afternoon right now. Oh, what is that one? The afternoon one always eludes me. I think because most of the time, right in the middle of the afternoon, I was never outside speaking to people. I was more inside. So it was very, very seldom I had to say that. But I did go out in the evening, and I also went out earlier in the day, grocery shopping and stuff. So yeah, I just managed to miss afternoon. Hi, Reba, sorry. Salam. Thank you. All right. So let's get to what we're going to talk about. Okay. We're going to talk about some good stuff. Before we get started, I want to just say right away, we had another extremely cold day here in Alberta where the temperatures were once again minus 33 and beyond with the wind chill. Right now it's minus 20, and with the wind chill, we're looking at, just give me a second, I'll pull it up so we get our current weather. We're also getting some snow. It feels like minus 30. So it's minus 20, feeling like minus 30, which brings me to what I'm going to speak about briefly, and that is my nonprofit. So I am a co-owner of a nonprofit called Hugs for Homeless, and Hugs for Homeless is based in Alberta. And what we do is we gather donations to build backpacks that we then distribute out into the community. And these backpacks are filled with essentials, a warm blanket, gloves, a hat, I said gloves, a hat, socks. It has hygiene products, a water bottle, some electrolytes. And when I see the temperatures like this and I go out for a little walk, I'm reminded how blessed I am that I have a home to go back to, because a little walk is uncomfortable. And if I had no way to get outside and out of the cold, it could be unbearable and also deadly. So now is the time to donate more than ever. And you don't have to donate a lot. You just donate whatever you can. And that could be $2. Maybe that's all you have right now. And that's okay. That can give somebody a blanket. All right. So we're going to talk today. Now we're on Sha'Ryah stuff. And this is my main company is my company where I help you remember who and what you are and how you're meant to live. That's what I do. And it sounds very simple, doesn't it? I just remind you of things. And that's what happens with the truth, right? When you find out what the truth is, it unlocks things. It unlocks you. And the biggest thing that it's unlocking is your remembrance of who you are, what you are, and how you're meant to live. And, like why you came here. Why would you be here now? Why? Okay, so we're going to talk about the fact that it is the 1212 portal. Because everything that I do, I speak in terms of true sidereals. So if you're not familiar with astrology and you think that the only astrology that exists is the astrology in magazines and newspapers, and when you go for a search online for your zodiac chart, that's just it. But there are many forms of astrology. It's been around as long as there's been planets and stars as a way to navigate. And each planet having a different effect or expressing things differently because of the effect of the planet and the constellation that it's in. So tropical, which is mainstream astrology, or what is very well known, or traditional, it could even be called. And it can also be called seasonal. And the reason why it can be called that is because the stars were frozen 2,000 years ago in this particular form of astrology. And when they were frozen, it was just on March 20th, Aries season, and then every approximate 1 month following, it changes to the next sign. There's the omission of the 13th sign, which is Ophiuchus, which actually is placed between Scorpio and Sagittarius. It's a bit different because but anyway, it's the 13th gate, even though it doesn't fall in the 13th space. There's Vedic astrology, there's sidereal, and then there's true sidereal. And that's the form that I use, because true sidereal is based on the actual planets and where they're placed in the sky at this current moment. So it's not based on something that was frozen long, long ago. It's the actual truth of the sky as it is. So the living sky. That's why I like true sidereal. And I call it Krystic astrology because Krystic is a term that means, beyond religion, beyond dogma. It's the divine original truth. And so I am a truth seeker. And so Krystic astrology is what I teach. And I got here through learning all about traditional astrology or tropical astrology, and then doing moonology so I could apply the phases of the moon as well to everything. And then I moved from there into human design, which is an offshoot. It's much deeper than it's much different in a different way. It's not deeper. It depends on what you do with astrology to how deep it can be. But you can use it to guide your life, because we're meant to be in harmony with all the celestial bodies, including Mother Earth. So this is what I'm teaching. And I will be doing a full course on this in March, on the 20th. The other thing that's coming up that I'm teaching is all about embodiment. And that is the Bridge to Light Phase 2. And that begins on January 9th. And that is all about embodying your truth, living as you are meant to live, without the trauma, without the rest of it. So it's an in-depth course. It's 6 weeks. Most of my courses that I make are 6 weeks in length. Sometimes that means they're 12 sessions because I do 2 a week, and sometimes they're just 6 sessions because I do 1 a week. But anyway, we're going to talk about true sidereal. Again, I was talking about that, and then I went into that I'm teaching it. Let's get back to talking about today and the 1212 portal, and based on the actual living sky. So what are the placements today in the sky that we are working with? And I'm just going to pull up some notes here because I can't remember everything off the top of my head. That's a lot. That would be a lot to try to remember all of that. Hi, Zandrian. So we're just getting ready. I'm going to sit that there, get back here. Okay. So we're entering this sacred day through the divine frequency of 1212. So this is a powerful numerical alignment and crystalline star code that opens a gateway for higher embodiment, remembrance, and light body integration. Today is not a day to consume, but to become. So our planetary alignments today, we still have the sun in Ophiuchus. It transitions, like I said, into Sagittarius about almost at midnight on December 17th, according to my time. So if it's midnight mountain time, if you're in the east, like in the Eastern time zone, then it's 2 hours difference. So if it was 11:43 on, December 17th, then it's going to be 1 a.m. on December 18th for those on the East Coast. So you just find where your time zone is, and that's the sky for you, because it has to transit, right? It has to move across. So we have the moon in Virgo that transited into Virgo last night. Yesterday, I did make the mistake. I thought that the new moon was later in the day, so I thought it was falling as a Virgo new moon, but I corrected that before I went live and talked all about it in my live about how it's actually a Leo third quarter. We are approaching a new moon in Sagittarius, which happens on December 19th. So I'll be doing some content around that. We have Jupiter in Gemini, Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, and Pluto in Capricorn. And those ones are in there for a little while. My notes on the transits, let's see. I tracked Jupiter through the sky, and it goes into Cancer in June of 2026, June 21st, 2026. Saturn leaves Aquarius and goes into Pisces January 15th, 2026. So that one's not far off. And that'll be a big shift collectively, because Saturn is a collective planet, it's not as much, it has personal stuff, but there's a collective weight to Saturn. Uranus is moving to Taurus, from Taurus into Gemini on June 2nd of 2033. So that's a ways out there. So we got a lot of time of Uranus and Taurus. Neptune in Pisces is, Saturn I'll talk about the effect that Saturn has on us. I think I cover a little bit more in depth today, because it was a good day to talk about all the planets again, because we haven't done that for a little bit. And we'll talk about what the moon is like in Krystic astrology, which is true sidereal, like I said, and then just without any twisted illusions or manipulations that have been seeded into traditional astrology, into the signs and the planets and, the distortions. So it moves, Neptune moves in from Pisces into Cetus, which is the whale, on the 21st of August, 2029. But we don't count, in traditional astrology, they don't count Cetus as an astrological placement. So the next placement that it moves into is Aries, and that's in March 29th of 2040. And that's also the year that Pluto moves from Capricorn into Aquarius. So 2040 is going to be a huge year, because those are significant changes. Capricorn moving into Aquarius, January 21st, 2040. And like I said, Neptune moving into Aries on March 29th, 2040. So, oh my goodness, the energy from that. Aquarius is innovation. Like this is what we think that we're doing right now. Everybody has it identified as it's the age of Aquarius, but it's not. It's not until 2040. All the stuff that we're seeing now is strong Capricorn energy for sure. And I can talk about that as well. So we've got, and then shortly after that transition happens, though, where we get that big Aquarius energy and Pluto, Neptune's then going to move into Aries, and Aries is going to let's go. Let's go. We're ready. So those two, that's a great combination coming one after the other. Their roles are very different. What Neptune oversees versus what the effects of Pluto are, right? They govern different aspects. Not hot enough yet. All right, so our planetary alignments, we went through those. The Krystic Daily Triad, we're going to talk about that a little bit. So this is the Living Light Living Light template. So the Krystic Daily Triad is your celestial embodiment map. Your celestial embodiment map. We teach this as the core alignment system for your daily presence. You're looking at the placement of the sun, right? This is your soul flame expression and how you radiate your mission. Right now, the sun is in Ophiuchus. So you would be looking at, what does that mean, sun in Ophiuchus? What is your sun sign? For me, my sun is Ophiuchus. So this is the energy. I'm at home here. I'm very comfortable with this, the energy that Ophiuchus brings. So this is how you radiate your mission. So how is this sun energy going to assist you, or how is it going to affect you based on your sun sign as well? Like, how is it going to heighten your, you know, your expression in some way? The moon is in Virgo. It went into Virgo late yesterday, last night around almost 11 my time. And the moon represents your inner flame, what you're learning, feeling, and integrating. So that's the energy that the moon brings. And Virgo is all about refinement, and it's refinement of everything around you. Leo, like we discussed in the third quarter yesterday, Leo is about personal refinement, whereas Virgo, even though it's the refinement of you, it's still the refinement of you via the external spaces around you. So like your routines and your habits, what are you eating? What are you watching? And all of that stuff. Hi, Granny. So that's the energy of the moon and Virgo. Virgo's not perfectionism. Virgo is refinement. Virgo is mastery. Detail-oriented and devotional. That's another great way of capturing the energy of Virgo. So then you look at your ascendant, and you can look at this again two ways. You can look at what is my ascendant, and how would the moon and the sun, being the moon in Virgo and the sun in Ophiuchus, with my rising, which is Aries, how do they relate to one another? But how it's meant to be done is that we can predict the rising sign. Like we can determine what the rising sign is. And like if I woke up in the morning with the Stellarium app and I faced the horizon where the sun rises, and the moment that that sun peaks on the horizon, I see the sign that the sun is peaking in, then that's the rising sign. That's how you determine that, right? So you could do it with the Stellarium app, or, you know, I haven't tried it with the My Live on the internet, because I would have to determine the directions of the house to angle the sky in the right direction, but I can do that, right? So the rising sign is your embodied flame. It's how your oversoul anchors through form. Now, if you're looking at this through the tropical lens, like say you've done your natal chart and you've done it on, you know, a regular generator, and you're looking at all of this and you're trying to figure out, okay, so this is what this means. You're only getting half the picture, because you need to do your natal chart using true sidereal so that your placements are corrected. And they're typically off by about one sign, although sometimes it can be two signs. It depends on where you were. You could have been on the cusp of traditional astrology, like right on, you know, like a couple 1 or 2 degrees of another sign. And then you might end up, because of the size of each of the constellations, move more than just one sign. So there's that possibility, but typically you move one sign, and true sidereal incorporates the 13th sign, which is the sign of Ophiuchus. And if you're a truth seeker like me, you want them all. I wanted the truth. I want the truth of the truth. So I want the living sky as it is. I want to know what the sky actually was doing when I was born, not what the sky is doing because it was frozen time 2,000 years ago. So, hey, if I was born 2,000 years ago, this is what my signs would be. That's what traditional astrology is teaching me or has taught me at the end. Not quite hot enough yet. All right, then you have your psychological triad. So this is your inner landscape reflection. So we're going to look at the moon, Mercury, and Venus. Why? Well, the moon is the emotional processing or the emotional landscape. Mercury is your inner dialogue or your communication. Venus is how we relate to others and to ourselves. This is our attraction. This is our receiving portal, right? So if we have issues in our Venus, we're probably not open to receiving. right? The Venus aspect is what allows that. The Mars is our giving, right? The Mars is the masculine energy. It's the forward propulsion, But anyway, besides that, so we look at the moon because it's our emotions. We look at Mercury because it's our thoughts, and we look at Venus because it's our relationships or our attraction. So what we want to do today is we want to apply. We have the moon in Virgo, Mercury still in Libra, and Venus is in Ophiuchus. So you're going to do some journaling, and its topic, or it's specific to those. So what stories am I repeating? Because Virgo is all about refinement. So it wants to know, what am I doing here? Like, why am I repeating these patterns? Like, what do I need to remove, or what do I need to establish? What routines do I need to put in place? Like, what structures are needed and what things need to be removed? That's what Virgo energy is. Virgo is the energy of, I'm going to clean the house. I'm going to organize. I'm going to discard the things that are just cluttering up my space, or, I'm going to start a workout plan because, I need to. That's Virgo energy, that refinement. So it's looking at and because this is the emotional aspect, what stories am I repeating is a way to delve into that. The Mercury in Venus, it sounded like my dog did a high bark. But anyway, I'm not hearing nothing. I'm on that fringe of no noise is good, but then I'm also on the, I bet you what he did was he was picking, when they're itching and they scratch scratch their ear or something. That's probably what he did. Okay. Back on task. All right. So we have Mercury in Libra. So the question to delve into that space is, what is my inner voice anchoring? Because this is your inner landscape, the thoughts, right? And we're looking at that Mercury being in Libra, which is all about balance and harmony, and so that's the question to open that. Then we have our Venus question, and Venus, thank you, Granny. Venus is in the sign of Ophiuchus. Well, what's Ophiuchus? Well, that's the resurrection gate. That's when you've went through the refinement of Virgo and through the depths of Scorpio. You've sussed out what was true and what was false, and went into your shadow, and you're the phoenix reborn from the ashes. That's what Ophiuchus is bringing you. So it wants truth, it wants integrity, alignment, embodiment. So it's asking, how can I offer love to my emotional experience today? Okay, so how can you, because sometimes we're pretty hard on ourselves. We have a lot of coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of judgment, criticism. How many of us get hard on ourselves, right? So that's the energy of our psychological triad for today, and our inner landscape reflection that we can do. We also have the cognitive triad, and this is identity and awareness. This is just your mental template, the sun, the moon, and Mercury. So the sun is the expression, the moon is the embodiment, and Mercury is the landscape of your mental landscape. So this is a helpful frame for awareness. But in the Krystic system, it is not central. It shows the interplay between your outward identity, inner feelings, and cognitive framework. So you can look at it on a daily basis to see, how was my cognitive framework that day? Was I really harsh with myself? Was I kind with myself? Was I focused with my thoughts? Were my thoughts really balanced and harmonious? And things like that. Just give me 1 second. There, my dog might start barking. It's possible. He's doing a little. So Mars has been in Sagittarius for a little bit now. It actually went in on the 10th. So now we're on the 12th. So it's like, you know, we've gotten a good 24 hours of this energy. So if you feel like the energy shifted for you, that's because of that transition that happened. Mars is all of our forward momentum. Even though it's been dubbed the god of war, it's really the masculine energy. This is our forward momentum, our drive, our passion. So it went through Ophiuchus, which was where you ignited that sacred transformation, and then it's into Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is the flame of visionary expansion, truth-seeking, and divine ignition. Mars in Sagittarius stokes your personal mission, because Sagittarius is the arrow. It's like, I'm drawing my arrow back, my aim is true, and I'm firing it. And as an fire sign, that means let's go. Let's go in the direction that we're meant to be going in. And so this is stoking your personal mission flame, and it's inviting that forward momentum that is encoded in wisdom, though, because you went through the last little bit of shedding the stuff that's not aligned and revealing what is true. Now it's time to go with that wisdom that came up from the full moon, all of it, not just the full moon, but the planets and the transits that they're going through. And we're not moving on impulse now, right? We're taking deliberate steps in the direction that we know we are meant to head, right? That we're meant to lead ourselves. So the questions that we need to ask ourselves when Mars is in Sagittarius is, where am I ready to lead with vision instead of reaction? Okay, so where am I ready to lead with vision instead of reaction? What sacred fire is ready to move in me? And where is my inner archer pointing its bow? Okay, where is it? Where are you headed? You have to have a goal. You have to have somewhere that you're headed. Otherwise, you're out of, you have no direction, right? And without that direction, where are you going? You're not actually a Sagittarius, Debbie. You'd have to look at your chart. And you'd have to go to the website, the masteringthezodiac.com. That's the one I strongly recommend that you go to. Fan of that site. And so masteringthezodiac.com, I give them a call out pretty much every single live. But I go there and do your birth chart. Even if you don't know your birth time, the only thing you lose out on there is your rising. You wouldn't get the planetary degrees to the exact because you don't know what time. So it's going to give you around noon as a basis of when you would have been born. But it'll give you really close, unless there were major transitions in the sky that day. Yeah, it's a yes that you are what it says you are. So you're more than likely Scorpio. You may be Ophiuchus. You might still be Sagittarius, though. I don't know. You'd have to check, though. Okay. And that would give you some insight. And anyway, that would be the sun sign. And emotionally, though, that would be the one you'd want to check on and see what your moon sign is, to see, you know, the moon being in Virgo versus your moon. You could be, if you're a Virgo, you could be, say, or sorry, if the moon's in Virgo, you could maybe even be Pisces, let's say, because Pisces opposes Virgo. So when the moon's in Virgo and it's opposing yours, it's really going to be pushing on things. The emotions aren't a bad thing. Just allow them to come up and let them go, release them, right? So where is my inner archer pointing its bow? This transit is, it will support soul-aligned action when grounded in divine truth. Yeah. So that's all you do. You just go and you plug in your information in that website, masteringthezodiac.com. Put your information in there as best as you know. And you can even just put 707. I don't know, whatever, right? Just drop a time in there and just see. I think that if you look at the rising sign and then I tell you what the rising sign means and it doesn't seem like it aligns, right? Because they're going to give you their interpretation of the planets and the placements and stuff, right? And I'll give you a different placement of that. All right, so we've got the moon in Virgo. This is embodied refinement. So the Virgo moon teaches us to love through refinement, to purify without perfectionism. But that's what mainstream astrology has taught us, because that's a distortion. If I identify as Virgo and I decide that, I want to apply that label to myself, and then I read what it is that that Virgo encompasses, then I'll adopt those properties, right? I'll decide to myself, I'm a Virgo. A Virgo is highly critical. A Virgo is a perfectionist. A Virgo serves and serves and serves. Virgos are the ones that seem to just give and give till exhaustion. They end up being the martyrs and stuff like that. But that's because that's the distortion that gets built in. So we need to look at what the truth is about each of these placements and each of the celestial bodies and apply that to our lives correctly. So the Virgo moon teaches us to love through refinement, to purify without perfectionism. Like I said, it's refinement, it's devotion, it's discipline. And discipline is devotion. It's devotion to your highest you, right? The person that is devoted to working out every day, that is disciplined in working out every day, the reason why they're disciplined in working out every day is because they're devoted to their physical health. Somebody that reads lots and lots and lots of books, the reason why they read them is because they're devoted to their mental health, right? Or they're devoted to their intellect, or maybe they're just devoted to their peace and they just like that it's really quiet and peaceful when they're reading. Who knows? I was addicted to books as a child, but I used them as an escape. But it was better to be in. If you put your nose in the book, parents don't typically smack you. You don't typically get handed chores. You just have to be scholarly, and you get to avoid certain traps as a child, and that's what I did. All right, so we've got that beautiful Virgo energy. So under the light of Virgo, we become aware of how the body holds memory and how we become better vessels for light. So spend time today attuning to the body. Where is the nervous system holding tension? So just do a scan. Start at the top of your head and draw your attention all the way down through your body, scanning it, and feel, where is there tension in your body? Are you tense in your shoulders? Do you feel like you're carrying a lot of responsibilities, the weight of the world, or, is that where the weight is? Is the weight in your chest? Is there like a feeling of grief or of like heavy emotions that you don't know how to process through? It's just this heavy feeling. Right? Where's the tension that's in your body? Is it in your back? Do you feel like you're not being supported, or that you have a hard time supporting yourself? Right? The answer is in your body. It's the energy that's telling you, right? Where the issues come up and what type of issue comes up is because of a lot of the emotional and physical, like the non-physical stuff. It's not actually even, you did something physical. It's just your emotional processing and everything. Holding on to trauma. So what routines or rituals need to be realigned? Again, we're in refinement. So it's not about getting rid of everything or ending things. It's about looking at it and saying, is this still aligned with me now? Because you're evolving. And as you evolve, what you were doing, say, for 13 days, you did one, you were doing a meditation every morning, the same meditation for 13 days. And on the 14th day, you get up and you're like, yeah, I'm just not feeling it today. Well, maybe it's because you need to do a different meditation. Maybe that's all you needed of that was 13 days. You didn't need 14. You didn't need 21. You didn't need a whole bunch of it. So find the routines or the rituals that are aligned and what's not aligned and change them. You're meant to have structure in your life and flow. If you have all structure, you become very rigid, right? And then things aren't, what is the word? I'm missing the word. The word just failed me right there. But same thing, if you're too flowy, if you're just like, I'm just going to go and do whatever I feel like, when I feel like it, I'll just where the wind blows me. There's a possibility that you're not going to have consistency, right? That's, that flowy kind of way of living. I tried that for a while. I did. And the thing about being in flow is that if you're doing that and people are anticipating structure, so if someone's like, oh, I wonder when she's going live, and you're like, I'm just going to go live when I feel like it, and only when I feel like it. And that's what I did. I said, I'm only going to go live when I feel like it. And I didn't feel like it a lot. And then when I did feel like it, the people that were waiting for me to be live, that had grown used to consistency that I had, they were like, well, you're not there now. So now I'm watching other people. And I'm like, hello. Hi, love. Thank you. So what part of your life feels ready to be cleansed is the other part of it. So it may be that you need to clean house. It may be that you've had some clothes hanging in your closet that don't fit you and you should just get rid of them. Just accept where you are right now. And when you change into something differently, when you lose weight or you gain weight, whatever the one is, if you're holding on to skinny clothes, you're holding on to fat clothes, whatever it is, get rid of them. Buy new ones. That could be your motivation, right? What ends up happening if you're holding on to those fat clothes, you're just giving yourself permission to go back to them, right? Just get rid of them. And cleansing out the old stagnant energy that's all tangled up in the clothing and the belongings that we have. We should be cleansing our stuff a lot more. And this would be a good time to do some saging. Hi, Eleni. I hope I said that right. How are you? Yeah, I'm not doing that right now. I hope so. I'll send blessings your way that you do. So today on the 12/12 portal, we're going to have our right of sovereignty. So we want to be facing the sun if possible. The sun for me should be there, but it's not. It's a lot of cloud there. And if you can't face the sun, when you close your eyes, just envision that you are facing the sun, right? Call the sun forth. So close your eyes if you have to, or face the sun if you can, however you envision the sun, and then just repeat after me. I call forth the living light of my soul flame. On this sacred 12/12 day, I open the gates of embodiment. May my body, mind, and field be purified and aligned to hold the fullness of who I am. I walk as the living flame. I breathe as the light. I anchor the solar codes of truth, love, and divine radiance. Put your hands over your solar plexus. Close your eyes. Feel that sun within. Feel the warmth. Okay, now we're going to repeat. I am the sun made flesh. I am the flame walking. I am the light anchoring heaven on earth. And let this practice seal your intention and align you with the 12/12 codes. Hi, Maddie. All right, so the implementation for the day, the way that we're meant to use the sky. So we want to do a sun moon check-in at the morning, midday, and evening. For me, I just go through and I look to see when the next transit is. So with the moon's changing every 2 to 3 days. So you don't have to check it every day. You're going to know by scrolling, you know, and seeing where the moon goes, where the sun is. The sun's transiting typically on a monthly basis, although there's, I think, one constellation, and Ophiuchus might only be like 17 days. So you do a sun, moon, and rising check-in, right? You have to check where the rising sign is, and that's connecting to that daily triad. You do a journal with the psychological triad, which is the moon, Mercury, and Venus. Today, because it's 12/12, you should speak the right of solar sovereignty aloud. And if you can do it at sunrise, noon, and sunset, even more beautiful. And move your body in ways that ground and clarify, because that's the Virgo moon. So you're not waiting to embody your light. You already are it. The portal only makes that truth impossible to ignore. All righty, we got our second part of what I like to talk about, which is embodiment. Remember that on March 20th, I will be doing the Krystic astrology course, which will be a 6-week course. I'll keep releasing more information and details about that as we get closer to it. The 12/12 portal is not about seeking something out there. It's about realizing that the blueprint already lives inside you. Let today be a return to your original solar design. One of radiance, sovereignty, and divine remembrance. So walk as the light body, breathe as the flame, speak as the sun. All right. So today is the 12/12 portal. We've been talking about that, which is a day of alignment, clarity, and energetic refinement. The frequency is a bridge between who you were and who you are becoming, because we're constantly in a state of evolution, right? At least that's how I am. I'm thinking about the things that, you know, I can do, also accepting exactly where I am, but also looking at, you know, improvements and growth, right? There's growth. So we are stepping into this portal with the sun in Ophiuchus, the moon in Virgo, Venus in Ophiuchus, and Mercury preparing to leave Scorpio, because it enters preparing to leave Libra. It enters into Scorpio tomorrow at almost 8 o'clock my time, which is mountain time. So it would be whatever time that is in time change. In your time, whatever mountain time is if you're in Eastern, it'd be 2 hours ahead. So it would happen at 2200, just about. So what the portal actually, this whole combination, I even skipped right past that. The combination creates a rare moment of truth, purification, and soul level alignment. That's what we came here for. You came here to be authentically you, without the trauma, without the, you know, the conditioning, the programming, all of that. You came to know the truth, to be the truth, and walk the truth. And so this is important for anyone that claims to identify as, you know, someone with a mission. So portals are not superstitions. They are energetic windows where alignment becomes easier. The 12/12 portal brings clarity, integration, the activation of oversoul timelines, reorientation toward purpose, release of outdated identities, strengthening of the inner light. So this is not a day for chaos. It's a day for coherence, which we like. We like to be in coherence, right? Not incoherent. We like to be in coherence, in resonance, in alignment. So we just had the third quarter yesterday, which was a third quarter moon in Leo, which I had thought was Virgo, but like I said, we moved into Virgo a little bit later than I had thought, or I thought the new moon occurred later in the day. Anyway, That was the fire of identity. It's burning away what's not true for you anymore. Because remember, Leo is the one that is all about personal refinement. It's I'm the lion, hear me roar. I am all about authenticity. And so I'm going to step into my own radiance. That's what the Leo energy was bringing. And Virgo says, well, now let's refine our space. Because if that's who you are going to be, then what does the you that you want to be need to do to get there? And maybe there are some things that you need to have structured throughout your day, right? If your future self, you see your future self fit and you just, you have a very, very sedentary lifestyle, well, then you're going to probably want to incorporate something in a change between that and the person that you're becoming. So now that the moon is in Virgo, like I said, Virgo brings the grounding and the integration and the refinement. Hello, guys. So yesterday showed you who you are becoming. Today shows you how to support it. So the Sun and Venus are both still in Ophiuchus. So this is that truth plus heart alignment. Ophiuchus is the sign of remembrance. It reveals the higher path. It exposes distortions. It aligns your heart with destiny. It's a good sign. It's a good sign. It's got great influence. With Venus also in Ophiuchus, the portal speaks directly to your values, your relationships, your boundaries, your magnetism, your heart integrity. This is not soft energy, though. It's clarifying energy, because that's how Ophiuchus rolls. Now we have Mercury leaving Libra and entering Scorpio. It actually happens tomorrow. And this transition is important, though, because Mercury in Libra gave us reflection, balance, and the chance to consider your choices. So we're in the portal with that harmonization, with that ability to harness that energy from that. Tomorrow it's going to shift. Tomorrow we are moving into Scorpio, which is all about depth, honesty, and the release of superficial conversation, right? We don't want to hear about the weather. We don't want to hear about the stars. We don't want to, those types of stars. We don't want to hear about, we don't want to hear about what's going on in the inverted clown world. Right? We want to have real conversations about real things now. So we're going to have deeper conversations, clearer boundaries, fierceless truth-telling, because nobody tells it like Scorpio, intuitive clarity, and emotional intelligence upgrades. So this turns that 12-12 portal into a corridor of truth, because we have a portal today and the switch from Mars into, not Mars, the switch tomorrow of Mercury into Scorpio. So today's energies are highlighting your self-worth, your soul alignment, clearing hidden patterns, grounding your next identity, returning to inner order, making choices based on truth, not fear, which is nice, right? You'll feel just really a good conviction or very grounded in the choices that you're making right now. So it also leads to that purification of your motives and intentions. So you're going to get real with yourself. And that's that Ophiuchus energy at 222. You're going to get real with yourself. And it's going to strengthen the Oversoul embodiment. So this is a great day for recalibration, not overwhelm, not pressure, not force, just recalibration. So you're not meant to be forcing yourself and being really hard on yourself. So these energies today with the portals and the transits that we're under with, even though it's tomorrow, we're still feeling that energy, that early energy of Scorpio coming into Mercury. So what the Oversoul is saying on a portal day is, and they speak loudly, you should go have a meditation and connect with yourself, with your higher self, with your soul. And it's saying, I'm ready for more. I'm done with this dynamic. I need structure. I need truth. I want alignment. I am returning to myself. I know what I must choose. And these are not random thoughts. They're instructions from your Oversoul. Well, if the Oversoul is very confident today, what is the ego doing? Right? And remember, we're not doing ego dissolution or any of that stuff. The ego goes into the passenger seat. It just doesn't drive the bus, because the ego drives looking in reverse. It looks at what has happened to you and it predicts that that's going to happen again. So the ego will keep you small. The ego will keep you comfortable. The ego will keep you safe in the environment that you're in. And that may not be a safe environment. So what's your ego doing on a portal day and the 12-12? The ego may be feeling a little overwhelmed. Okay. The ego is like, why does everything feel so clear and uncomfortable at the same time? And the Oversoul says, because clarity always reveals what must change. The ego, but I like predictability. The Ophiuchus sun, predictability is not your destiny. Ego, I'm stressed. Virgo moon, make a list. You will feel better. Because that's what Virgo likes to do. So we're going to do our embodiment practice. We do one every single live that I do, because it's not about hearing more information or learning more or reading more or more thoughts or more inner noise. You have to do something. There has to be an embodiment. There has to be something practical. If you're going to therapy and it's just talk, you're missing out on the somatic part, because your body is what stored the energy from those experiences. And until you allow the emotions that you've trapped, the freedom to flow, and you move that energy and do some other practices, it's often just very one-dimensional. Right? It's top down versus bottom up, and you need both. That's all. So we're going to put our hand on our heart. We're going to take a nice slow breath, maybe 3. I think we should do 3. In through your nose, down into your tummy, and then out really slowly through your mouth. And as you do these long breaths, I want you to just sink into that space that comes up and allow your brain to shut off and just be in your body. Okay? So breath in. And out. If you didn't close your eyes, please do so if it's safe. Next one in. Out. And third one in. Really sink into that space that's there and release. Now you're going to ask yourself some questions. What part of me is ready to come into alignment today? What truth wants to ground? What identity am I stepping into? What energy am I releasing? What does my Oversoul want to anchor through this portal? Just allow the first answer to rise. This is your 12-12 alignment. So when you enter a resonance field that reflects truth, your entire being responds. What ends up happening is that with the traumas, we've been, 1212 is our number, we've been disconnected from our bodies. And our body is where we experience intuition. Our body is also where we have stored all of that emotional energy that's unspent. So we need to release those energies, and we need to connect with our body instead of doing things to disconnect. And we can be doing that through numbing out and avoiding and all of those other things. And when we continue to numb out and avoid, we miss that connection with our body. We miss out on our intuition. We miss out on feeling what's going on in our field, right? And you're losing so much of your life by not experiencing what you can feel through your field. You very easily, when you start to connect with your body and reconnect with your intuition, when you start to do that, you become a barometer for the truth. You very much can sit within your body and you can feel when it's true. And that's something that we're lacking. We've lost out on having that discernment in our field because of all the traumas and also the avoidance and stuff that we experience. So people tend to feel grounded in my field because I hold alignment. So you feel that feeling because it's what I'm resonating. And people feel clear because I'm speaking not from my ego, from a scared space or from a confused space. I speak very much, I know, because I'm speaking from my oversoul. And people feel safe because I walk it too, right? Like every day when I start up my live, I'm sharing it out and I'm like, sharing is caring, and I lead by example. I don't tell you to do anything that I don't do. I'm doing these things. I pray into my water every day. I make structured water. I meditate every morning, connecting to my oversoul. I pray on my food. I do all of these things. Now, that's in alignment with me, and you need to find what's in alignment with you and then walk that path. So I do not extract truth. I amplify that truth inside of you because you feel the truth in me and it's resonating with the truth that already lives inside of you. I'm just reminding you. So I tell people all the time. And this is the gift of Ophiuchus and Virgo together. This is the gift of today's portal, is it's amplifying the truth. So let today be a day of alignment, a day of quiet truth, a day of clarity without pressure, a day of embodiment without fear, because you're entering a whole new timeline. The only one that prevents you from growth or from evolution or from embodying your oversoul or from having what you want is you. You're the only one. The only one. Unless you're locked in prison, and you probably did the choices or whatever to get there, and some people have been wrongly convicted, but there's something there. Right? Like unless you're trapped, like you cannot move freely, but then you wouldn't be hearing me anyway. But you're the only one that can change your situation, right? If you want something, you have to get it. You have to embody it. You have to do it. And you want to align with your oversoul. That's what we came here. You want to embody your oversoul. That's bringing heaven to earth. Hi, Kita. And you're preparing for the Sagittarius new moon, right? The new moon is coming. It's next week on the 19th. Gotta start getting ready for that. And it's a new moon in Sagittarius via true sidereal. If you look at tropical astrology or mainstream astrology, they will say that it is it might still be in, I gotta think about that. This might be one of those weird times when the traditional astrology and true sidereal actually align. Sagittarius moves into, the sun moves into Sagittarius on December 17th, late in the day. And the new moon is on the 19th. because a new moon happens when the moon and the sun are in the same sign, and that occurs on the 19th. According to tropical astrology, we would already be in a new moon. Like we would already be in Sagittarius season. We would be in Sagittarius season until the 21st, around there, the 20th, 21st. And just thinking of traditional astrology. So it's a late in the sign new moon Sagittarius, whereas it's very early in the sign new moon in true sidereal. But it is one of those wonderful times where the new moons actually in mainstream and tropical will be considered to be in the same sign, and where this time we'll actually have a new moon in mainstream mode, or whatever they'll be talking about will be about the new moon in Sagittarius, which is cool. So yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. All right, I got a bunch of stuff posted in different spaces for you guys to all go and check out. There's stuff in the membership groups that I have. These are low-cost entryways to get deeper access to me and to what I'm doing, right? I just saw a funny post come up. Sorry, we get the notifications that pop up on your thing. I had commented on someone's post, and then they replied, and not them, but somebody else replied to my post, and it was actually funny what they said. So there's low cost ways to interact with me, and then that's that 1111 is the Ascension Gateway, 2222 for the Guardian Pathway, and then 4444 for the Krystic Mastery Circle. And I have some other groups that are there. The Temple of Light is free, so go join that one at the very least because it's free, and check out the stuff that I post there. That way if anything ever happens to my socials, you'll always know how to get a hold of me or to find out the information, because I'll just continue posting through my group on my own website. So check that out. There's also books and mini classes or mini classes that are available on the shop tab. So if you go to the shop space, that's what you'll find there. There's also larger courses that are pathways. They're like 6 weeks in length minimum, tons and tons of stuff within those. One's coming up is the Bridge to Light Phase 2, where we will be talking all about embodiment, and you will be embodying your truth. And that's going to have a profound change on your life for sure. And what else we got? I got 2 books that are coming out if I can get them together. They'll be coming out on the 21st. Just doing some final formatting stuff, which anyway, we'll get it done. I have a couple classes that are coming up for you guys. Those are free, at least they're both free. The classes for December for the Krystic Mastery Circle members, but only one is free for the Guardian Pathway. That's the way the groups work. Every month the Guardian Pathway gets a class, or like an activation or something live. We do something live, and the Krystic Mastery Circle also gets something live. When I offer those lives to the public, so you don't have to be a member of the group, that way there you can attend just that and then not access anything else and not be caught into any subscriptions that you don't want to be. So you can just drop in, take that course or that class. Every one of them so far has been $22.22, which is the cost of the Guardian Pathway membership. The one for the Krystic Mastery Circle is going to be more, and that's because it's a 3-day mini class. So it's going to be the cost of the Krystic Mastery Circle, which is $44.44. And that is the Krystic Wealth Activation mini class. And I'm putting that together now, and it's good. I like it. So that'll be $44.44 Canadian. But like I've said to everybody else, or said numerous times, my site works on sacred reciprocity. So if you're interested in taking the embodiment course, the Bridge to Light Phase 2, I do have scholarships available. Sometimes there's things that you can do for me that benefit me that don't have anything to do with money. I joke around and I'm like, I don't know, maybe you live in Alberta and you got a car and you don't need it anymore. And you're like, here, take my car. And I'm like, oh, I need a car. You know, it could be something completely tangible like that. More than likely, it's going to be being someone who's sharing my content, who's sharing about me, who's doing, you know, testimonials, who's doing online work, or, you know, stuff like that. Like, who knows? Like, there's different ways that we can exchange stuff, though. And so, if you're interested in the things that I offer, and you know, like, you honestly want to experience that, and you know, you're going to be honest about what you can share, then we can talk about that. We can negotiate that stuff. All right. But that's it for today. It's Friday. I tend to do a little bit shorter of a live on Friday. I got on here about an hour ago, I think. I don't know. You can check and see the time exactly. What do we got? An hour and 5 minutes. There we go. So we got an hour and 5 minutes. That's a good live. Have a great weekend. Please go check out hugsforhomeless.com and donate. Again, like I said, we were minus 30s plus. Today is bitterly cold, 2 days in a row. This is a temperature that doesn't just end up making you feel uncomfortable. This is a temperature that can be deadly. So help us get backpacks out into the communities that can provide extra warmth and dignity and a little bit of hope. So if you can do that, that would be great. But I gotta go. I have a little bit of time now before I have a meeting this afternoon for Hugs. So I love you guys. Have a great afternoon, and go and do the portal stuff. The recording is on YouTube under the live videos. It'll be the last one that goes up, or you can check it out on Facebook on my profile. The recording of the live is there. For those of you on TikTok, love you guys. Have a great night. See you on Monday.